Hey guys, unlike some people, I did not get invited to the initial public offering of figs today. I had to do things like work, and yeah, I wasn't able to take part in the rave. So guys, a lot of people ask me, how can I get into veterinary school? What do I need to do? What can make me stand out? What can give me the best shot at getting in? I got asked that question today, so I thought I would make a video about it. Let's talk about it. I would make this video today talking about how to get into veterinary school, the process that's involved, and kind of what I did, but also some advice as far as how to make yourself the best applicant possible. And I thought I would do this while I was on my walk in this pretty scenery. So there's four main parts of a vet school application. There's your GPA, there's your letters of recommendation, there's animal experience, which is like work experience. And then some schools, not all schools, will require a standardized test score, like a GRE sort of thing. But not every school. Some schools don't even do that. So those are the four main parts. So let's break down how you can best attack each part. All right, so part one, GPA. So really, there's no magic bullet for this. You really just have to keep your GPA as high as you possibly can. But you want to try to keep your GPA definitely above 3. And I would say above 3.5 on the standard scale of things. Keep that GPA above 3.5. And that's going to keep you into a kind of competitive zone of the bell curve that will kind of look good on an application. But yeah, basically anything you can do to keep your GPA as high as you possibly can is ideal. You know, there's all sorts of study guides and ways to study. That's a little bit beyond the scope of this video. But just do everything you can. Treat college like a profession, because it's going to be needed to get the profession that you want, being a veterinarian. While it's not mandatory and there's no magic number to it, the higher the better. So you really just have to treat college like it's a job. Now, the college courses that you take really are going to be dictated by the individual vet school that you want to apply to. So first, when you target a vet school that you want to go to, you're going to go to their website and see what exactly they require courses-wise. Now, here's a fun fact. You don't actually need a degree to go to veterinary school. Not a lot of people know that. All you need is the actual courses that are listed on each vet school website. So for instance, if you pull up the University of Georgia, you can see all these different courses that they require, but nowhere on here is a degree. And in fact, I know a few friends of mine from vet school in my graduating class who finished their degree the second year of vet school. So they just did the minimum requirements for vet school. They got straight A's, finished out the other parts of the application like I'll talk about in a second, but they didn't have a degree. And once they got through veterinary school, about, I think it was the second year, those courses completed their undergraduate degree. So they were able to skip through college in 3 years and start veterinary school a year early. So that's a good little hack, and not a lot of people know that. The second part of the application process involves animal experience or work experience. In my opinion, this is by far the most important part of the application process. The reason being, it serves so many other parts of the application and gives you the best idea to what being a veterinarian is like. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend working in a veterinary hospital. Ideally, working in a multi-doctor general practice hospital, or if possible, working in some capacity in a 24/7 ER specialty hospital. Reason being, with a 24/7 specialty hospital, you're going to be exposed to so many different types of medicine. You're going to be exposed to a very high level of medicine and many doctors. So you just have a lot of opportunity to spend time with doctors, spend time with different diseases and managing different patients, seeing these different diseases. And by doing so, you'll get a good idea as far as A, if you want to specialize, B, what being a vet is like and all the different variations of being a vet, and C, you'll be able to get letters of recommendation from potentially boarded specialists and ER doctors. So for instance, if you worked in a specialty hospital and you worked with ER, you worked with surgery and internal medicine, and you had a letter of recommendation from an internist, a surgeon, and say a criticalist, that would look extremely good on an application. Now, the third part of the application process is letters of recommendation. So you get letters of recommendation from veterinarians by working with them and for them. So this is the classic adage of you get value from people, you get people to give you things by adding value to their work or their life. So give value, add value, you get value in return. So this is why working in a vet hospital is so important. Not only the things I mentioned before, but if you can apply all the good attributes of an employee in any field, things like being proactive, really hardworking, listening well, openness to learning and taking instruction from people, hustle, all those sorts of things. If you demonstrate all of that at a vet clinic, the veterinarians you're working with and for will see that, and they will be absolutely lining up to write you a letter of recommendation. And also think about it, not just from the perspective of you, the person asking for the letter, but from the perspective of the doctor writing the letter. So what do you think would make for a better letter? A generic statement where I just have to kind of make generalizations and say you're good, or a letter where I can actually write about a specific scenario where you helped me out, or like a possible surgery that you helped with or assisted on, or a case that you were really interested in and demonstrated a willingness to learn. These sorts of things apply more than you may think at first. So it's really good to be a super hard worker, not just because that's a good thing to have and a positive attribute, but because it allows for a more unique letter that's detailed and stands out amongst a sea of like generic letters. And finally, there's things like research, volunteer work, extracurricular activity, things like that, that aren't oftentimes required by veterinary schools, but they definitely help, and they're kind of like the cherry on top for your application. So things like if you volunteer at an animal shelter, if you take a trip somewhere and do like, sea turtle research or something like that. But also a hidden aspect of doing these sorts of volunteer work is that you get life experience that you can then draw from, and you yourself can write a statement letter that is a little bit more unique and tailored to you. And again, it's about standing out. So if you have a more unique story, then that might help with your application as well. Standardized test scores. So in human medical school, they have the MCAT. They used to have something called the VCAT, which I never took. It was antiquated before I even got to vet school. But many vet schools will require the GRE. Some don't. So you have to go on the individual vet school website to figure that out and see if it's needed. But there's lots of training manuals for the GRE. It's not that hard. It's just kind of a pain in the butt to take. But that's kind of the other part of the application is your GRE scores. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed that quick little summary of how to be the best veterinary school applicant you can be. If you don't mind hitting the like and subscribe button, that'd be great, and I'll see you next time.